Welcome back to That's BS with me, Brian. Today, episode 19, our guest is Jacob Motley, good friend of mine. He's very experienced in the sports memorabilia card flipping game. This is a very relevant topic as of late with the Pokemon cards and all that jazz and PSA gradings, the whole nine. So buckle up. This should be a good listen. And again, guest is Jacob Motley. Let's get into it. Hey,
What's up, man?
What's up, man? Dude, love the shirt, by the way.
Oh, man. NBA Jam, Hornets, LJ.
Oh, that's sick. So my wife was watching a movie downstairs and she said, what is it? What to expect when you're expecting? And she goes, yeah, it's starring Dennis Rodman. And I was like, I think you're talking about Dennis Quaid.
No.
And she goes, no, I think it's Dennis Rodman. And I pulled up a picture and I said, are you sure? It's definitely not him.
I think Dennis Rodman is what to expect when you don't know what to expect at all. I think
exactly. I don't think he's in any pregnancy movies.
No.
But yeah, definitely an interesting and rude awakening for her.
Yeah.
So I just want to give you a heads up. My camera's over here, but you're over here. So it looks like I'm not looking at you, but I'm actually looking at you. So if it looks like I'm not paying attention to you, I intimately am.
I appreciate that. I need a ring light, man. I'm like yellow and orange.
Dude, I got a ring light. It's legit. They were, I got one because I not pre-ordered, but I ordered it and that's like June maybe. And they were out of stock. So then it finally came in like super late, like in August or something, but it is legit. And then I found
I got a lamp over here and it looks like I have like jaundice or something.
Well, I did the thing on mine where it has, it helps you, or while on Zoom, you can change it to where it helps your like low light setting. So now it looks like more vivid, which is pretty nice. I'm seeing on mine.
You look amazing.
Dude, I am beyond flattered. Thank you.
Yeah.
So how you been?
Pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Long Christmas break, all that kind of good stuff, and really just watching a lot of sports and trying to stay healthy.
Oh, there you go.
I told you though. I told you. Shame on me. I got the COVID too.
Can you smell and taste things now?
COVID-19, but it didn't impact me fast. Partially. I'm still seeing it while I couldn't taste it, just to make a video and make it look like I could eat it without it impacting me whatsoever. But I lost taste, lost smell, and it's coming back bit by bit. I'm about halfway back. I miss food.
Oh, dude, I've been dieting for the past 3 months. I miss food as well, for different reasons.
Yeah. I've been watching your videos. Good progress.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't before I got on. I told Mercedes, I was like, I should have shaved. So I got a little stubble going on, but.
Oh yeah, I don't leave the house, Patch Adams going. So don't worry about it.
Perfect. Yeah. We went to Lowe's, and whenever I go to Lowe's or Home Depot, I'm just like there. And so we were going just to get paint swatches for our laundry room. And then we ended up buying like a bunch of outdoor lights, just the bulbs. But then we planned a remodel for our kitchen, looked at appliance, like a ton of stuff. Like, oh yeah, we need this water heater. Like Home Depot and Lowe's are like my favorite store.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get older, right? Like, what was it, old school? Will Ferrell, when he said he had a big Saturday planned, he was going to go to Bed Bath & Beyond and maybe a Home Depot if they had enough time or something like that.
One of my favorite movies all time.
So accurate.
Dude, yeah, so good. This morning we started out though with a little Starbucks, got some coffee in me, and then it's Mercedes' birthday next. I better look at the calendar. I know it's the 27th, but I don't want to get the day wrong. Next Wednesday. But my mom, because we all had the day off from work, we did mani-pedis this morning. So my legs are feeling very tranquil, to say the least.
Gotta stop the dogs from barking. That's for sure.
Woof, woof. That is a fact. Well, cool, man. I'm glad that we could do this. I was talking to Sean, Sean, and he was like, when am I going to get to come on the podcast? And I said, well, I think Jacob's going to get on there first. He goes, good. You better have him on there first. He's an avid commenter.
Yeah. Got to get in there.
I appreciate the support.
This is fun. Yeah, I haven't done a Zoom meeting in like 2 whole days. So
I know, gosh, for work, we do so many.
Yeah.
Well, all your presentations are fantatic. I'm sad I don't get to see your face often. Your little icon is great, but right now I'm just a smitten kitten. Stud squared.
The stud squared. Yeah.
Stud squared.
Yep.
Dude, I have to go and copy and paste it off of Google in order to add it because I know you got your little shortcut like a
You
mouse.
can do, yeah, you can do the squared shortcut, and I can't remember why I had to do that. Yes, I do. It's back when I was running the work social media account, and Mercedes had the G Wagon, and it was a 4x4 squared, and
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a lot of stuff around that, and I could not figure out how to get the little two there.
Mm-hmm.
So I Googled it and then just did it as a shortcut because I got so sick of like trying to figure
I know
that
what you're
out.
talking about. Those things are badass.
They are. They
They
are.
are sick, and they're also like a mortgage for a house.
Yes, they are. And I mean, they're just ridiculously huge. I think they're six wheel, right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then they come in these crazy colors. The one I was looking at that day was like neon yellow or something. It's just like, how can you get more look at me than a, you know, 6+ wheel G Wagon that's neon yellow? I don't know. But anyway, that's the origin of that story, in case you ever wondered why I have a shortcut for squared in my phone.
Okay, perfect. Because I was like, I don't even know how to make that. So did you do it on the keyboard or did you copy and paste it and then shortcut it?
I think I copied and pasted it and did a shortcut. So when I type the word squared now, it goes automatically.
Oh, that's legit.
Yep.
For the viewers out there, because you're delaying a little bit, like your audio is
Mm-hmm.
perfect, but your mouth is delayed. I don't know if you're seeing that on your side. I don't know if it's going to show like that in the recording, but is yours looking smooth?
Mine's good.
Okay, cool. Maybe I just suck. I checked my internet. My internet looks good. So I don't know. We'll figure it out when it's
You want
recorded.
to check mine and hop back in?
I am not super Zoom pro. So tell me how to do that.
I mean, I can leave and jump on change rooms or something and come back in.
Whatever, if you think that's going to be better. Like I said, it took me forever to figure out even how to record these when it's a record option. So I am technologically challenged with Zoom. So whatever you think. I mean, there's moments when it's really clear, and then there's other moments when the audio is great, but then occasionally it'll get choppy. But on your side, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It must be something with me then. I don't know. We'll write it out and then see how it goes. But
Okay.
so yeah, like right now it's perfect.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes. But anyways, what was I going to say to you? Oh, you went to that card thing yesterday because I wanted to talk to you about that stuff because I know on some podcasts ago before I had, guests and whatnot, I was talking about like my old Pokemon cards, and now I guess Yu-Gi-Oh cards are making a swing. And growing up, I had, a big baseball fan, tons of baseball in my family, and my dad has so I don't know if I ever told you this, but my dad used to play minor league ball for the St. Louis Cardinals. So
cool.
he has like some signed cards from some crazy dudes in his era. And then I guess my grandpa has like a crazy stock in his garage or something of some like intense rookie cards and things like that. And I've always wondered, like, how do you determine the value? I mean, being a Seattle guy, like Griffey and Ichiro are monumentous here, and they are in just baseball in general throughout all history. But I've always wondered, like, how do you evaluate not only the quality, but then the price of stuff like that? Another memorabilia.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a year back into it myself. I started looking back into it, listening to like Gary Vee and stuff like that, and I was a big basketball card collector, big fan when I was a kid. I had boxes and boxes of this stuff. Unfortunately, that's now known as like the junk wax era because they put out so many cards. There's so many of them, they're worth almost nothing.
Crazy.
So yeah, now they make shorter runs of cards. And yeah, so it's the value. They're more valuable now because they don't do this like massive run that they did before. But yeah, if you could look at them, I mean, there's things you look for: the corners, how centered the image is, if the corners are damaged or not, surface for like scratches or anything like that. I mean, there's all sorts of things you can look at. It gets really complicated, but yeah, it's an art almost, and it's taken me a while of just kind of trying to get a footing in there and understand, what's what.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just seeing like there's a lot of different podcasts that I watch or just people on, because we've talked about this quite a lot. Just people on YouTube that I watch, even some of the guys that I've told you about started doing like stuff with Pokemon cards and all this stuff, which is completely out of left field for what their, YouTube channels or followings are all about or what their like content is based on. So it's pretty crazy how this has just been a huge uptick, at least in my perspective, or I guess more mainstream in the past year, 2 years or whatnot. Like one of my buddies in college in my fraternity, shout outs to you, Nick Nugwin, if you watch this. But he and one of his really good friends that he grew up with, who actually plays for the Steelers, Cassius Marsh, they opened a like card shop where they grew up and are now doing like Pokemon cards, and Cassius is like super into Magic the Gathering and like a couple other trading card games and stuff like that, because the market for those is crazy. Like I saw on my Instagram, one of those like booster boxes for Pokemon from like 1999 or something sold for $408,000 this week.
I watched a guy yesterday buy a card for like
You just cut out super bad. I heard nothing.
$1,000. I can't remember what it was. He just counted the money out right there and bought a card for inch. It's telling me it's me.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't know because, like I said, I'm challenged on Zoom. Would you be able to back out and then join the same meeting, or do we have to do a different one?
No, we can join the same one. I guess you can edit it together, right?
Oh, yeah, that's cool. I can cut it out.
All right. Let me try to see what's going on. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
All right, miss you already.
Yo.
Okay, cool. It's already doing a little better, I can tell.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I changed rooms, so hopefully we're cool.
Okay, cool. Now the audio and your lips are matched up. So
boom.
That's
like
good,
that.
baby.
Change rooms.
Perfect. Well, now we get a better look at your beautiful face.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Dude, zoomed in. I like it.
I don't know that. Yeah.
No, it's perfect. Okay, cool. Before we had the technical difficulty, cool, I'm still recording. We were talking about that big old booster box. I said went up for like $408,000 or something like that. And then you were saying something about a specific card, right?
Yeah, I was at the show Saturday and watched this guy negotiate on a card. It was like $6,000. He just pulled it out and just counted the money out. And I've actually watched last year I was looking at Jordan rookie cards and they're graded certain numbers. I was looking at one that was like a grade 4 and it was like a $3,000 card. Here we are.
PSA 4?
Yeah, PSA 4, which is not great. But
not great, yeah.
Back then. But yeah, that card was like a little over 3,000. At this show, it's already gone up to 4,500. So it's a supply and demand thing. Like those cards are just
so crazy.
More and more. Yeah. But yeah, I'm actually building this collection for myself. I'm a big Carolina, Tar Heel fan. So any of those guys that get to the NBA, I'm building a personal collection of. I get one of their rookie cards autographed.
That's so rad.
I've got like 60 guys. I grabbed one. I got like James Worthy, like his rookie auto. Yeah. But yeah, the Jordan one will forever make my collection incomplete because there's no way I'll ever pay for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be ridiculous. My brother Kevin, shout outs to you, Kevin. He is like a totally big time. He's a huge Mariners memorabilia guy. Like every time we go to games or he goes to games, he always leaves with some shit he never intended on purchasing. Like when we drafted Dustin Ackley, everybody thought Dustin Ackley was going to be the man. And then do you even know who Dustin Ackley is?
Not a big baseball guy.
Exactly. No. Well, even if you were a big baseball guy, the chances of you knowing are slim. But he was like a first rounder and he was supposed to be the next big thing. And then he pretty much washed out. And after we traded him, they had at the Mariners team store, they had like a big sale on autographed memorabilia from him. And my brother scooped up a bunch of autographs and I was like, why? I mean, I'm a big Mariners guy, so I get it. But he has a ton of stuff because I was going to ask him about that. And I'm sure because he watches, I'm sure he'll be interested to hear your kind of take on it since you go to these things. Because he and my other brother will go to games. And when it was my nephew's first game, I can't remember who it was. I think we were playing the Phillies. He got like a bunch of big name guys to sign a ball because he's like, it's my son's first game. It was awesome.
So, well, that's the difference though. It's like I buy cards to flip and like make money on, and then I buy cards for myself. So I'm doing the same thing he's doing. Like for my own personal collection, I'm way off base now. I'm looking for like these random guys from the 60s and 70s who only played for like a year, and I'm trying to find their one autograph card. It's That's weird. Cool. Like it would mean nothing to anybody else, but I want it. So
when you seek them out, you're buying them with autographs. You're not going to, I mean, obviously with the world, the last year and whatever has been different, but I mean, would you go and get those autographs yourself, or are you just acquiring the cards with autographs?
I'm buying them autographed now to kind of build the collection. But yeah, I mean, there's certain things like I've got a basketball that I want to go local and next year or whenever COVID raises and goes away, and get Lonzo. I'm sorry, LaMelo, not Lonzo. Wow, LaMelo Ball to autograph
That
a
dude's a
Hornets ball for
stud.
me. He is a stud. Yeah.
Stud. I think
So
that all his moving around was like probably really tough for him on a
yeah,
kid, but now he went through all of this professional maturing process, not only on the national spotlight, but at such a young age that now he's like a true professional.
yeah. I mean, at 19, it looks crazy that he's playing that good, but you got to think he's already played professionally for a year. So
For a
he's
year,
already
exactly. Played in
he's already got
Australia
that
and he
experience.
played in Lithuania or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But
Something
yeah, he skipped the
ridiculous.
whole college thing and went and played internationally. And you could tell though, like he's ready to play as soon as game
Super.
one. So
And I was looking at something or something came up on my Instagram because like I only follow besides like people I know, like a couple athletes or people that I watch on YouTube or something like that. But of course, ESPN Sports Center, he's ranked like number 1 in points, number 1 in assists, number 1 in steals, number 1. The only person that's beating him out at anything is Wiseman with rebounds, I think, and blocks.
yeah, and he's not starting, and he's only getting like 20 some minutes. So I'm a big Hornets fan, and people are already screaming from the rooftop that he needs to play more. But I mean, he'll earn it. But
For sure.
He's already doing that, and he's not getting nearly the minutes. He'll get probably in a couple of months. So
you got Rozier and Graham as well, which are both pretty good under 28. I think one's 27, the other one's 26. They're young front court team or backcourt team, excuse me. And that shows my basketball skill right there. But they're a good, they're a young backcourt. So for them, I think that allowing him to kind of mature into the playmaking role that he's already starting to show he has the capability of is going to be a really good move. And I mean, the Hornets, I've always liked, Charlotte when they're the Bobcats and the Hornets, because I grew up in that era when everybody loves Michael Jordan. So just seeing his team and how every year they just like, we'll take a chance on a guy from Gonzaga or take a chance on a guy from like a small, and they said the same thing about LaMelo. It was arguably that he was going to be one of the top 3 for sure. But just seeing that it's paying dividends this early, and hopefully he stays healthy and keeps his mind focused and his dad doesn't get involved too much. But the future looks bright for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of watch him grow. And like I said, his cards will start coming out in the next 2 or 3 months. And I was talking to people at that card show, and that's what everybody's waiting on. They're waiting on his stuff. I mean, he's going to be last year was like Zion and Ja Morant. This year it's going to be, definitely LaMelo. And I mean, he's the sexy name, right? Like he's the person everybody's going to want to like chase. But yeah,
he had the superstar name before he even played. He dribbled, one dribble in the NBA.
Right. So he's playing really well, much better than I thought he would that quickly. But to your point, he's kind of already, been down the professional road and stuff like that. So he knows what it takes, and hopefully he keeps doing, like you said, stays healthy, and he's good for us for at least through his first contract before he wants to get traded to a bigger city and get out of Charlotte.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, I hope that, but I mean, playing for Jordan, I'm sure that there's some sort of, because you can tell how humble he is based on his interviews comparatively to how Lonzo kind of had to navigate the waters with all the hype from his dad and his big mouth and things like that, which I mean, it's worked out for him.
Those guys, I don't know what's going on with the shooting motion in that family, but they all have the weirdest jump shots.
It's so weird. At least it's not the Sean Marion.
Yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting. But hey, I think one of the things that is good is it doesn't seem like, and I don't know, you would know this better than me, but it doesn't seem like they're trying to change his shot. Because I'm a huge Markelle Fultz fan. So sad to see him go down, but I'll circle back to that point here in a second. But the thing about him is they were saying, because like his jump shot at UW, and clearly I'm a WSU fan because my wife went there. I went to a small school, so I don't have like a true D1 allegiance. But
same.
but Markelle Fultz was electric, and that's why he went number 1 when he was at UW. I mean, he was a great player there. And then when he got drafted to the 76ers, they tried to change his jump shot. And I think instead of just allowing him to like figure out how to be a professional and then like tweak things, they like drastically try to change him as a player. Again, I don't know on the basketball standpoint, like growing up playing baseball year round forever. I understand that if you try to change something on your swing, it's going to take a few seasons for you to figure it out. And I was not a professional. So like seeing that happen to this young kid who's learning how to be a number 1 overall pick and then try to fill the shoes of being an immediate superstar for the 76ers with, Joel Embiid and all that jazz. I think that it was a hard transfer for him, but then him going to Orlando was great. But sadly, this is the part I was circling back to. Sadly, seeing him go down, your boy Cole Anthony is going to get some more shine.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, I didn't want to see him get hurt either. But as soon as that
No.
happened, I was like, Cole should get a little bit more playing
Yeah,
time.
he looks
I
pretty
think he's
good.
going to be better in the NBA than he was in college. That kind of more open floor and like not so many people clogging the lane. So he's playing good so far. Same another guy. I'll be chasing his cards here in a couple. Of him and LaMelo will be who I'm going after.
Yeah,
this,
I figured you're gonna go after Cole because we talked about him when last year when he was still a Tar Heel and he was great, absolute stud.
Yeah, the team sucked, but his statistics were really good. But yeah, last year he got injured himself. I mean, he was out for like 10 games. He had knee surgery. So yeah, there was like injury after injury on that team, including himself. But yeah, hopefully he stays healthy and, can have a good career for sure.
Exactly. And I think a good young team is great for a lot of these guys. I mean, obviously, if you get drafted and you go to the Lakers, that's going to be great. So you have one of the greatest leaders in recent history in the NBA. So that's awesome. I'm interested to see what goes on in Brooklyn if Kyrie comes and plays.
Yeah, there's only one basketball. I don't understand how that's going to work long term.
Yeah. And that was the thing I was going to say too, is the NBA has become so much more of an isolation game than in recent years. Like it's all about, let me show my crazy handles and then you got either drive to the dish or hit it in your face.
To me, it's like off the court too. Like Kyrie is a head case. We know Durant he's got like ghost accounts on Twitter. So he loves to just burn Twitter up. And then Harden is not traditionally been, like a
just about strip clubs and the buffet.
Guy. Yeah, he's hitting it hard. So I don't know. I think that's the biggest problem there is keeping all three of those guys. Yeah, I guess, with their mind on basketball, right?
Yeah,
and not just kind of doing ridiculous things. But we'll see. That's a lot of star power. But if you look back and think about it, Durant, Westbrook, and Harden all played together and couldn't do it. And
dude, don't remind me. This is why I don't watch basketball anymore.
Yeah, if you told a kid that now that those three guys didn't win a championship, they would think you were lying.
Oh yeah, dude, it's devastating because Washington is such a huge basketball state. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, it sucked watching Nate Robinson get knocked the fuck out, but it was we're just a huge basketball state here. And watching the Sonics get taken away from us is devastating. I know we almost got the Sacramento Kings, and then there was talk about the Phoenix Suns, which I'm excited to see them take off. And and now with Chris Paul and all that jazz. But I never want to see someone else lose a team and we gain them. As much as I'd love a basketball team back, I know that heartache. And so for us, like my best friend Michael, and if you're watching this, I'm talking shit on purpose. He is like, I jumped on the Thunder bandwagon immediately. And I was like, no, fuck that. That's like child services comes and takes your kid away. And then someone a couple houses down adopts it. And then now you're like, that's not my kid anymore. I know that's a very weird example, but it's just devastating. I can't watch them or root for them.
Well, yeah, I grew up a Bulls fan. I grew up a Jordan fan. So, but I've always liked the Hornets. Yeah, I've always liked the Hornets. They're always pull for anything local to me, and they're not far, a couple hours. But I kind of felt something similar when they let the Hornets name leave Charlotte and go to New Orleans. And then, like how did that happen? Like it's not traditionally a great team, right? But the brand and the colors and everything else is like historically like a really cool
best
brand.
Jerseys ever in the NBA. Your guys' floor now is so dope.
Yeah.
The honeycomb shit is legit.
Yeah. So I couldn't believe they let that whole like branding piece go. I'm glad it's back.
Crazy.
But yeah, getting the Bobcats, that was never really, it just felt weird to even call them the Bobcats.
Yeah. I think everyone's like that here in Seattle too, to when we get a team, because I feel like it would be a no-brainer to make us or Las Vegas the next expansion team, or both simultaneously, because we just redid our Key Arena is now Climate Change Arena, which I think is a terrible name.
That's an awful name.
What's that?
I said that's an awful name.
Oh, awful name. But we just redid Key, and because now we have a NHL team, which I'm so hyped about. The Krakens, which is my mixed feelings with a lot of people here, but I think a Kraken's a pretty dope mystical beast. But
definitely.
Oh, super. But giant octopus, and we have that here. So that's like a legit demographic thing. But yeah, I think when we get them back, it's definitely going to be the Supersonics or the Sonics or something of that nature. I don't foresee us trying to go with a different name, or that'll be even more of an outrage than when we lost them.
Some of those Sonics teams were the business, though. Dude, Gary Payton and Kemp and Detlef Schrempf, Hershey Hawkins, all those guys. Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Kid was a
Yes.
man.
Awesome. I remember going to games when we had Reggie. So that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Those teams was it 95,
Or
96?
Ray, excuse me.
Yeah.
Ray Allen. I don't know why I said Reggie. I was thinking of Reggie Miller for some reason. But yeah, when we had Ray Allen, I remember going to some of those games. But yeah, devastating. I mean, the Storm kick ass every year, so that's awesome. But we're like such a strong basketball state. I mean, the Seahawks have taken over. I'm a diehard Mariners fan, but we couldn't, hit water if we fell out of a boat in terms of getting wins.
Yeah. Basketball first for me, pro, college, and then I do football too. Besides that, I'm trying to get into I went to a pro hockey game first time a couple years ago. It was nice.
So awesome.
They got the Hurricanes, close enough. I'd like to go get to a game, but of course that's not possible right now. But
yeah. And now I think that they're doing stuff to where they're kind of like the NBA is. If the people are going to sit up there or something, it's like up farther in the rafters away from the court. Cause I saw something, I don't know if there's actual attendance, but I saw like a fan was running down to try to get like a ball that was out of bounds. And they're like, no, stay up there. And the guy was like, all right, my bad. He was trying to help out.
It's so strange. All of it's just weird right now.
Super weird. I'm interested to see. I know that you said earlier a little bit, I'm glad that you're doing better with the whole COVID thing. Cause I know we keep up with each other often, and I didn't know that, which I'm glad that you're doing all right. But are you going to have to get the vaccine, or is it that because you have the antibodies now, you don't need to get it?
I really don't know. I mean, there's no I haven't been instructed as to. There was no instruction, right? Like you go to.
Nobody knows what the hell's going on.
Yeah, you go through CVS, you do the little nose swab, you check your results online, and it's positive. And it's like, okay, quarantined and all that kind of stuff. But I will get it. I'm leery of that kind of stuff. Not as leery now since I've already had it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people that's like an anti-vaxxer by any means, but I am especially with this one, I don't want to be one of the first groups of guinea pigs. Like I have no problem taking it. I just want there to be a little bit more information about it.
Agreed. On that note, my mom got it this past week. She's a nurse, so I think medical is getting it
my wife's a cop, so.
Yeah, so she's got it. I mean, I've seen some college coaches, like Coach K came out and said he's already got it. Which I mean, he's like 74 and travels for work. So I think they look at those kind of priorities. Got the freshest suit in Jay's lineup ever. Oh no, that's Roy. That's Roy.
Oh yeah, Coach K. My bad.
That's Roy. K's got the freshest black hair polish.
Exactly. He uses the same ones for his shoes.
Yeah, that's what.
I meant to say Roy. My bad.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so I agree. I'll be a little bit leery of it for a while, but I've already had COVID, so at this point, who knows? I don't even know if you can get it twice. I don't think there's any.
I've heard of some rare cases that it happens because it mutates or whatever, but I don't even know. But I just hunker down or go to Home Depot, so it's pretty much my life.
Yeah. So, that happened. Luckily, it didn't hit me too hard.
That's good.
I had some weird body aches and a headache, which were strange for me, but none of that really weird coughing or, trouble breathing or any of that more scary stuff. It felt like I've never had the flu before. Pretty good immune system, I guess. But yeah, nice. it was just odd. I knew something was off. So yeah, that's why I went and got tested.
Well, I'm glad you're good now. Sounds like the immune system ate a lot of dirt as a kid, so you were prepared.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of paint chips.
Perfect. There you go. Back to because I want to talk a little bit about this as well, like what we were saying before with the card stuff. I know you went and got the James Worthy card, and then tell me a little bit more about that stuff because it's super interesting to me, but I have no idea. I know you and I talked about some PSA stuff not too long ago, but I'm curious what information that you have to share.
Yeah, no. I mean, you can get stuff graded. Like you said, you can buy stuff already graded. For me, I've got 2 orders at PSA right now. It's taking forever because it's like you said.
Everybody's jumping on.
Yeah. So I've had about 25 or 30 cards, one order that's been there for 5 months. A lot of old Jordan cards. And then I just sent in another order with some Kobe White and stuff like that. But yeah, you can submit. Anybody can submit. You can take one of your cards. You go on their site and fill out the form. You could send 1 card in, or you could send 1,000, and they charge you, based on the service you want. It's usually about $20 a card. I mean, that's what's involved is actually going on there, submitting it, and paying that. And then the upside is just kind of if it comes back a 10 or a 9, your value is crazy. I've got a couple cool success stories doing that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, my only thing is my first thought, I guess. So not the only thing. My first thought is when we were talking about it, like the edges are
Hmm.
important, and then also like if they're scuffed. Like when I was a kid, my like favorite Pokemon cards or my favorite baseball cards. Like I have a thing of all these, baseball cards, like a Mariners one, and then I have one of cards that I know would have a little bit more value. Putting them in sleeves, which always was like if you put it in a sleeve, you're good to go. But then the
Yeah.
sleeve could mess with it. I know, like with a lot of the Pokemon card stuff, like it'll scuff up the holographic or
Right.
whatever. Is it worth risking it and sending it to PSA and getting a grade that you weren't expecting? Or is it worth just trying to slang it on your own?
It's a good question. I mean, basically, if it comes back, if it's less than like a PSA 7 or like a BGS 8 or something like that, you're
Mm-hmm.
better off not having it graded unless it's like an old school card.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that stuff matters. If you can get a 9 or a 10, you're sitting pretty. Eights are kind of where it starts to draw the line. If it comes back less than that, you hurt yourself
Shot
more than
yourself in
you
the
did
foot.
anything. Right, right. So yeah, it's like soft sleeve, almost like a like
I know
a
what you're talking about.
yeah, soft sleeve and then a hard sleeve. And then it comes back and like I said, these
Mm-hmm.
graded cases. I mean, this
So
is
they
like
give you that case.
yeah,
It's not an
like
extra fee. That's a part of the $20.
yeah, when they grade it, it comes back like this is a Durant. That's PSA. That's what they look like, and this is like a BGS Beckett. So
Mm-hmm.
they look different, but PSA and Beckett are like your two biggest grading companies, and there's a couple smaller ones, but those two are where you get the most return for sure.
Yeah. So which is better, the PSA or the Beckett?
Right now, PSA is hot. If you go on eBay and you look up the same card graded very similarly from PSA or Beckett, PSA is going to be more
Hmm.
valuable. It's just kind of what people are new. I think the new group coming in. I think they say PSA is like the end all
Vibe.
be all. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So,
The authority.
um,
So it's like
yep,
Nikes and Adidas. You
right.
want to get the Nikes, but if you got to settle for the Adidas, you're not mad about it.
Right, you're right. And yeah, I mean PSA was turning them around faster last year, but now
Mm-mm.
everybody's months and months and months.
Yeah,
I mean,
because I've never heard of the Beckett one.
yeah, Beckett and for Beckett still got a grip on autograph verification and stuff like that, but it can get really nerdy and really kind of weird. But yeah, I mean I bought a Zion rookie at a card shop for $80. I was like, this looks like it's in good shape to me. The corners were sharp, the centering of the card looked good, no defects on the surface. So I was like, this is worth it. Spent the $20, sent it in. So I had $100 in it. It came back a PSA 10 and I sold it for like $900.
Dude,
So yeah,
talk about a
like
come up.
right, right. So I mean there's stuff like that everywhere. And honestly, if I would have sat on that card, it's now worth like probably 12 or 1300. So it's
It's
just like the
crazy how that
stock market,
happens.
right? Right.
It's like stock market. It's
Yep.
crazy because I've never really understood the whole Bitcoin thing. But then I saw
Yeah.
something recently that this guy has like $220 million in Bitcoin, but he forgot his password and he's only got two more tries or it's gone forever.
You see the one guy years ago that paid for a pizza with Bitcoin?
Uh-uh.
He paid for like a Papa John's order with Bitcoin. It's like a $30 pizza order. And they say now that $30 pizza has cost him like several $100,000 or something ridiculous like that.
What an idiot. But
Yeah.
you can't predict that shit. Like for me,
No.
Bitcoin makes me nervous. Or like even precious metal stuff. Like
Hmm.
I have a friend who is like super into trying to catch these waves,
Hmm.
and I am just very, very hesitant about a lot of stuff. But like with the cards and whatnot, growing up with baseball cards and trading card game stuff, it's crazy to me. Like the baseball cards and stuff, I've always known that there's value there, or the
Yeah.
basketball or football or whatever. But then seeing this huge influx in trading cards, like Charizard's going for 100 grand. Like I
Hmm.
have one. And I'm like, but it's not a first edition. It's like the next edition of it. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I wonder how much it's for. Should I get this PSA tested? But then I'm nervous because I don't want to get a PSA and then it come back be like a 5. And then when I could get it sell it for like a G bar, but then it gets PSA 9 and I could sell it for like 15 grand. It's ridiculous.
You won't know unless you mail it in. But at this point, you won't find out for 6, 7 months. They're so backed up. Like I said, they're just sitting on two orders for me and it's killing me.
Oh yeah, I bet. And my thing is I've heard horror stories like with jewelers and stuff where you take your jewelry there and then they'll switch out the diamond or something, then give it back to you like of a lesser quality diamond. Am I going to know that? No. Are they going to do that with my Charizard? I don't know. So I'm just cagey like that though. So I'm weird.
Yeah, no, it's kind of, that's a good call. You log everything so much, and then they walk you through the whole process. They let you know when they got it, when they're grading it, when they're putting them in cases, and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty legit. But yeah, if I was mailing in like a Jordan rookie, I'd be a nervous wreck. I'd want to like drive it there myself.
Exactly. Watch them with a fine tooth comb.
Yeah, definitely.
Get on their CCTV.
Yeah, that's a different level for me. I'm operating kind of on a much lower scale. Like I said, I jumped on some Durant rookies over the summer. This past year, he was injured, so people kind of forgot about him. So I bought like 5 or 6 Durant rookies and for pretty cheap, and kind of watching them already, spike.
Elevate,
so yeah. But it's just one of those things. Everybody worries about the new names. Everybody's already worried about, LaMelo, but forgetting about Luka, who's averaging like triple double.
He surpassed Jordan for the most triple doubles or whatever in his 3rd season.
He's ridiculous. I sold a lot of his cards last year too. Yeah, he's a big name for card movers too. Like people love him right now.
He just doesn't have like the sexy kind of swagger, He's kind of like why am I blanking on his name? I can see his big ass in my head. He played for Dallas too. Why? I can see him. Dirk. Yeah, he's like a Dirk, He just kind of extremely fundamentally sound. He's a little flashier, obviously Luka is. He's a charming guy. He's young, but he doesn't have that, crazy jump shot like a Steph Curry or the crazy handles like a Kyrie or, the freaking nature body like a Kevin Durant or a Zion or something like that. He just is like.
He's what I would call just tactful. Everything is just like done like precision. Every dribble, everything is footwork and everything. It's not a wasted
thoughtful
movement.
Individual.
Yeah. There's nothing wasted, but yeah, he's a beast. I like watching him a lot.
Exactly. He just doesn't do those crazy jams like Zion where people get out of their seat. He's just quietly triple doubles, quietly putting up 30 plus a game. He's just ridiculous.
You see the fast break the other night where he was wide open and the whole bench was like going crazy because they thought he's about to dunk it, and he just kind of like lays it off the glass. And like I don't even think he wants to dunk. I don't think who knows. I don't even think he can, but it was pretty funny because the whole bench was like, oh, he's finally gonna dunk. He has nobody's in front of him. No, he's still just laid it in.
Fundamentally sound.
2 points is 2 points to him, I guess.
Exactly. I mean, it's crazy watching some guys like you see I feel like Kawhi is one of those weird limbo players to where he has like he has star power, obviously, but like some of the flash to him, but he's super consistent. Whereas like, then you look at like the Tim Duncans who are just fundamentally sound, nothing flashy, one of the greatest of all time, but people aren't going to talk about him like a lot of these guys, like Shaq. I mean, Shaq is one of the greatest of all times, terrible at free throws, but he just had that like crazy, I mean, they're completely different play styles, but I mean, just like star power is so crazy, just like how it can be defined.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, to your point, you just said something, made me think about something. You were talking about Dirk, and I was like, it's very strange for me that a Dallas organization can go like 20 years with 2 European, like white guys who play, similarly, right? Like just kind of that fundamental, no flash, but it works kind of thing. And then like San Antonio, right? They had David Robinson for like 10 years, and then they got right into Tim Duncan. So it's like very similar players. It's just weird to me how that can happen, how, a league, it almost looks, you could see what the front office is looking for. And when it started working, they're like, okay, David Robinson's getting older. How do we duplicate this? Let's get a Tim Duncan. Same thing.
It's like typecast.
Yeah.
It's like they just try to find their Matthew McConaughey and just put him in.
Hey, speaking of that guy, I just read his new book. That book is fantastic, by the way.
Oh, I want to read. So I was talking about this with a friend recently. I don't know if it was my buddy John. So he told me he just read it, and I always hated Matthew McConaughey's guts because in every movie he's a giant douche. But then I watched. He got on like an Academy. I don't know. I don't care about any of those things. But he got like one of those big movie awards, and he like thanked all of his family, and then he thanked everyone at the studio, which is awesome. But just the way he talked about his family, I was like, okay, maybe he isn't the typecast that I thought he was in real life, which is like a very humbling moment for me that I just immediately threw this label onto this guy, but I got his book on audiobook and I'm waiting to read it. I got to pick another one because I just recently finished the book we had to read for work. I finished that one like right before the end of December, and then I finished one at the end of December as well. Unfuck Yourself, which is, I think I told you that one.
Yeah,
dude, absolutely. I was like in this crazy rut, and it just flipped a switch in my brain, and I just been like go 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 ever since I finished it.
Yeah, I mean, I like books like that. It's weird, like sometimes I just lose interest in things, but yeah, the McConaughey book's a good one. It's an interesting one because he talks in like these 2-page, I would call them sprints, right? Like you can just pick that book up, read 2 pages, and he's like got these just series of thoughts that's like you don't have to sit there and read for an hour. You can literally, if you have 5 minutes, you can pick it up, read a few pages, and it's like, I don't know, it's like these fragmented things that's kind of like life lessons and stuff like that. It's a good read. But yeah, you talked about the stereotype for him. It is one. He lives into it. He knows it. He knows it's there.
Oh, for sure.
But it's
better if you weren't, or whatever that line is. Oh my gosh. Be better if you didn't.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good one. I want to get that one. I want to get well, I've already read that one. I want to get of course, Basketball Fans, all we've talked about, but John Thompson read his book came out too. Georgetown coach. Yeah, I'm gonna pick that one up too, but probably what I do next.
Yeah, I've got here. I'm gonna read you the ones that I got slated for me. What was the book? I tried to find it on Audible. Because I'll tell you, I was going to bring this up to you in a little bit. I talked to a couple other people at work about it, but me and one of my best buddies, Jordan, he was the dude, the financial advisor guy, which he said he was going to look into the card thing, your question. He was like, oh man, I don't know the answer to that one quite yet. So if he finds anything new, I'll make sure to pass it along. But basically, he and I created this challenge for each other where there's 6 goals a month. Okay, I'll get into this in a little bit, but we're trying to read a book a month. And so we decided Audible is okay. Because that Unfuck Yourself book, if you get it from the author, he's this Irish dude, and I think it's Irish or Scottish. I'm terribly sorry if I got it wrong, but basically he reads it, and I just love it when the author reads it. And I heard McConaughey does his book, so I got his as well.
Oh, really?
Or you can get like the actual emotion, or what's behind it. Because I mean, I could read a book, but I'm not the one that wrote it and knows like what's behind these words that I'm putting on a page. So it was nice listening to the book with the Irish dude because he's hilarious and he has like a bunch of, not a bunch, but some slang in there. And then when he's like really trying to get a point across, it's super authentic. So I really like that about the Audible, and you can do other stuff and listen, like clean the house and get your reading in.
I've actually never done a book that way. I've never listened to one.
See, I like having a paperback or hardback so I can highlight areas because I take notes. But now when I'm listening to it, I can have my notepad up on my phone and then take notes on it and then like put, this is where it was. But also pretty cool, I haven't dinked around with this, but in Audible, you can record certain snippets of it to where you can save it to where it's like your own little highlight or whatnot.
Yes.
So that's pretty interesting. But the books that I have are Atomic Habits, which I bought like 2 years ago or whenever it first came out. I need to read that one because I read like 2 chapters of it and then I just went off on some other tangent in my life. But basically it's just what it is, Atomic Habits. And then my brother got me this book a while ago on hard copy, but I haven't read it. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I heard that's a really good one. I'm all about I don't know if I'd say self-help ones, but like self-actualization books to where it like breaks down common sense and puts it in a creative way to interpret is how I like to think about them.
Yeah.
And then Green Lights, the Matthew McConaughey book, The 4 Agreements, which is one about more mental stuff, Talking to Strangers, the book we had for work, You Are a Badass, The Power of Habit, Leadership Strategies and Tactics, How to Win Friends and Influence. I read that in college, the Dale Carnegie book, but I just wanted to read it again. The Power of Now, Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, Can't Hurt Me, and then the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, which I'm pretty sure I read that John Maxwell book in college as well because I was a leadership minor.
You said that's that's a list of like a book a month for the year?
Yeah, so I'll just get into it. What we're doing is 6 different goals. I'll pull up our thing. We keep a track on a notepad. We're demoing it this month, and then we're going to roll it out to some of our friends. I talked to Brittany at work about it, and she's down to do it. If you're down, it's pretty cool because he and I are cut from a similar cloth to where we're like super motivated. We do tons of goal setting, all that jazz. And so it's a physical goal, a financial goal, an intellectual goal, a relational goal, a spiritual goal, and a career goal. Spiritual is if you're religious, doing something like that. For me, I'm not religious at all. So what we put down there is try to meditate at least 10 minutes a day. And, some days it might sneak past you, but try to do that to where, in college I was meditating every single day my sophomore year because I was taking this class on meditation. And then it drastically changed how I viewed life, viewed people, interacted, just a ton of different things. It just gave me a crazy clarity. But then the career goals, one that you said, the intellectual is read a book a month. Financial, as we said, I don't want to get into anybody's financial situation, but it's you should be able to save at least $100 a month. If not, you need to wake the fuck up and figure something else out. But figure out whatever goal that is for you, but just save an amount per month. And then the physical is run 10 miles, do 800 push-ups, 800 sit-ups, and 800 bodyweight squats. My buddy Jordan is absolutely yoked. So I said, hey, I'm going to make something that's attainable for the average Joe like myself. And the relational one is doing something for me being married, doing something for my spouse that's nice, or for my parents or a friend or someone in your community or something like that. And it doesn't have to be a monetary one, but just doing something nice for someone. If you have an older neighbor, bringing in their trash cans or just doing something to help. And every month we were going to focus on if January was the physical month, then the physical goals would double. So it'd be run 20 miles, do 1,600 push-ups, whatever, or read 2 books, something like that. So it's just allowing you to grow throughout the year. And then we were going to sign up for, and obviously you being on the other side of the country, we wouldn't be able to do this. But with our friends here locally, we were going to do a Tough Mudder or a Spartan race or something in December. Just you've been kind of training for it the whole year. Not one that's crazy, but a 5 mile or whatever.
I did a Tough Mudder. I've done a Spartan. They're fun.
Yeah, I hate running with a passion because I have terrible knees. But but my thing is I'm down to do it, especially if I'm running 10 miles a month. It'll be okay, cool. And then especially with my buddies that I grew up with and things like that, it'd be a fun experience.
You got suckered in the first Tough Mudder I did. Was with the guy who does it for a career. It's what he lives for.
He's got the fucking bumper stickers.
Right. I was I'll do a Tough Mudder. Sure. I could run a couple miles. I mean, I'm definitely not the pillar of fitness, but I could do it. Get there. He signs us up for the 12-mile thing. It took 2 hours. I felt like I got hit by a car for a week. I couldn't move, but no, they're fun. Yeah. I think the goal setting stuff's cool. I don't do anything quite like that. I do set goals for the year. I did it for,
I do it too.
2019 for 2020, and I through a rough year of COVID and everything else, I still was able to achieve all my goals. So I was pumped about that.
Hell yeah, good for you.
Yeah, we got the same going into this year. I think the stuff's important. I used to not be that. I used to not write them down. I'm an overthinker, and it's constantly 1,000 things happening. I've talked about this
a million times. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started, doing some different counseling and things like that. And it's you got to write things down. So I started doing the goal stuff a couple of years ago. It's been good. It kind of lets you keep track of, and I'm a big spreadsheet person too. So I routinely weekly look at bills and stuff like that and kind of see how close I am to where I want to be. When you keep it all up here, half of it goes lost. Yeah, gets lost. Yeah, for sure. But no, that's cool. I like that idea of what you're doing and doubling up in certain months that's cool. It's a challenge.
Yeah, and it's something that's not crazy. And we are going to do it with all of our buddies that we grew up with and any other friends that we have that wanted to be a part of it. And then have just a Google Doc to where you're obviously being honest and you're putting stuff up there, but then creating my group of friends, we're so competitive, ridiculously competitive because we played baseball and soccer and some of them played football. I was a great backup quarterback. I was the Alex Moran of my middle school football team. So we grew up playing sports together and, we just thought it'd be a great way to, we go on a camping trip every year together, a great way to push us to be oh, well, if Brian did that and Jacob can do it, I can double down and do this to where that's why I said the realistic fitness goal, because my buddy Jordan, gets after it every single day. And so I was thinking it'd be cool if we did an extra credit, but there's a cap because Jordan would run 1,000 miles, just shove it down our throats.
Your grade just has to be curved. You need a curved grade.
Yeah. So we were saying there would be a cap to where you'd get 1 point for each goal that you hit. But if you doubled the goal, you read 2 books this month and it wasn't the intellectual month where you're supposed to read 2, then you just get an extra 1 point. So you have a maximum of 8 points, or not 8 points, 12 points, because there's 6 goals. You have a maximum of 12 points you can get per month. And then at the end of it, we're obviously, because the competitiveness is going to push us all to do this shit. Then it'd be the winner gets something, which we're trying to determine. But we're just testing it out this month. I am so behind on push-ups and crunches or whatever. I can bust out 800 crunches in a day. That's no big deal. But dude, push-ups, my upper body is weak, dude. So bad. So I'm dreading the 3 days this weekend that I haven't done any push-ups. But the body weight squats, I can do whatever. Like I'll be cooking eggs and bacon in the morning, just like doing the body weight squats. But the push-ups, man, I struggle. I hit like 10 and I'm like, God, I'm out of shape.
Yeah. No, core stuff for me. I like wings and pizza too much. My core shot. Push-ups aren't too bad. I like your meditation thing. I need to do that. I did get into yoga last year. That was fun.
It's good.
Yeah. No, that was amazing. It's kind of give you an hour to kind of just relax. Oh, well, I guess relax mentally. But yeah. It's that's something I want to get back into. It was actually like an outdoor thing. This lady had shut down her studio because of COVID, so she was doing it outdoors. And now, of course, it's freezing cold. So I haven't done that in about a month. So I'd like to find somewhere to kind of get into that. That was a goal I had for last year. But yeah, yoga, meditation, I think all that stuff's important. But yeah, it's cool.
The meditation stuff's cool. It was crazy because like I was saying, I was a leadership minor in college, and I took this class where we went up into the mountains. I think it was in Yosemite because I went to school in Southern California, and we went up in the mountains for like a week. And we went to this like Zen monastery, and it was during some sort of like break time. So that's where we could do it. But we went up in the mountains. You only ate, I think it was all vegan or all vegetarian. I don't know. Vegans and vegetarians, don't go after me. But it was they grew all the food on the land. Everything was made and sustainable. We meditated. I think it was like at least 30 minutes a day. Like we did group meditations like multiple times. So I think it was like an hour a day, like 2 group 30-minute meditations. But then you were allowed to like go out and enjoy the woods and do all these other things. And it was very, a really calming and really cool experience. And I got to do it with a couple of my fraternity brothers, which is awesome as well. But I have, like I said, I have terrible knees. Like I blew my right knee out 3 times. And so not like an ACL or an MCL or anything like that, but I don't know. Do you know what an osseous is?
No.
It's where a calcium deposit forms into a bone and it latched onto in between my tibia and fibia and like where my kneecap is. And essentially that broke off 3 times. And it's like the equivalent of tearing your MCL and ACL, but you don't have to have surgery. And I was like, well, can I have surgery and you remove this thing? And then my doctor at the time was like because my dad knew him, was the doctor for the Oakland Raiders, which was kind of a cool plug, I guess. But he was like, you can have surgery and I can remove it for you, but then it's just going to happen again, or you could just suck it up. And I was like, cool, okay, I'll just suck it up. So I haven't had any problems, knock on wood, since, but I had to sit like a certain way when we were meditating. And I remember it was like one of the first or second meditations. After we finished, the Zen guru guy was like, hey, how is everybody feeling? And you know me, I'm a pretty big smart ass. And I was like, hey, I'm not trying to be funny. And all these people in my leadership program knew I was who I am. And so I was like, hey, I'm not trying to be funny at all. Like I cannot feel my legs right now, because the way I was sitting, like my legs, my knees down were completely numb, and everybody started laughing. And I was like, I'm dead serious. Like this is the one time I'm taking things seriously. And he looks at me without skipping a beat. He goes, there's a difference between pain and suffering. We all experience pain. It's your choice to suffer or not. And that just changed my life forever. Like that one, without skipping a freaking beat, this dude says that to me. And then I was like, hey, can I have lunch with you today? And he was like, yeah, no problem. So I just kind of shared it with him, a little bit of the things that were going on in my life at the time, and just like, I guess, baggage that I had. And I was like, that really struck a chord with me. You know, do you mind listening to some things? And how would you handle this? Or how would you go about trying to move forward? Because I was young and I was like, oh, this guy's going to give me the answers. And then he said to me at lunch, he goes, it's like having an itch. Do you have the discipline not to scratch it? When a fly lands on you, do you really need to waft it away? It usually goes about its own business shortly after. Do you always have to, little things like that in your life, do they affect you so much that you have to make a response? And then ever since then, just those 3 statements drastically changed everything for me.
That's interesting.
Put like a crazy perspective.
Yeah, that's like the book I was telling you about. I think you asked about it earlier. It's a Guide to Rational Living, right?
Yeah, I tried to find it on Audible. They don't have it, so I'll just have to buck up and get it.
It's very similar, where it's like, you know, you want to blame everything on like, this person's making me angry, this person's stressing me out. No, you're making yourself angry and you're stressing yourself out. It's a complete flip way of looking at it. It's like, you know, you can control kind of like what you just said, but it's you know, how to be rational about it, not irrational. Because as soon as you put that on somebody else, you kind of say you can't control it at all. Yeah, right. So that's a good book too. I'm pretty 3/4 of the way through. That was an older one. I think it's from like the 50s or 60s. So a few things are kind of out of date there, but it's kind of one of those timeless things that's just all about kind of how we, we think through stuff. So
that's what
it's
I
a good
liked
one.
about the Unfuck Yourself book. It's like that. But one of the things he talks about, which really struck a chord with me, is you're a winner at whatever you do. You're a winner at being a winner. You're a winner at being a loser, which is like making excuses. Like you said, like if you blame, because this person broke up with me, now I have issues with having healthy relationships. Like that's not their fault. That's yours. You're
Right.
just associating that blame to a certain situation when really you're just not taking ownership. I don't know if that's a good example, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what that book talks about. And I was talking about it with a lot of people at work because things have been wearing down with a lot of people, obviously, as it is
Yeah.
with everybody with stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think about that kind of stuff all the time. And I really got to check out that book because you and I talk about this pretty often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll do the same thing. I'll keep in touch with you and see kind of the books you're liking and reading, because it sounds like we kind of look for the similar things. So that's why I can't do like fiction like that. I can't just like space out and read a book about space or something. I have to read something that is almost like where I could put myself in somebody else's shoes realistically.
Yeah, I'm the same way. The only time when it comes to like fiction stuff is a movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
Because
I
for
think
me,
we
it's
talked
hard
about
for
movies
me.
before. I love movies. I'll watch anything, but yeah, reading it. If it's like I tried to read, what's the classic book? I'm trying to read it right now, The Alchemist. Right.
Oh, that's a
It's
good one
supposed to
though.
be right. Have you read it?
Yeah, in college.
Okay, I'm struggling with it just because I want to, I know it's one of those books that's like a book you're supposed to read like at some point in your life, but it's to me just sometimes I get gets a little bit too out there and kind of I lose interest is what I'm rambling about. But yeah, if
I
it's
don't
not
like
something
characters in books.
right, right, yeah, if I can't stay in tune with it and think about it realistically, I just find myself just kind of zoning out. I'm reading, but I'm already thinking
I
about
know what you
something.
mean. Yep.
Yeah,
It doesn't catch my attention. Not that it's not a quality read. It's just that I'm trying to extrapolate ways to apply this to my life. And it's hard to do that when there's already characters in play. Like for me, that's at least for me, like with autobiographies and things like that, it's a little bit different because you're like seeing things through their eyes in
yeah,
real world situations. Whereas like with fiction, like Harry Potter and like Game of Thrones, I've never read Game of Thrones, but I heard R.R. Martin's like will describe a chess plate for like 30 pages.
yeah,
For me, it's hard to like put myself in that scene with a lot of those things. That's why I love the Harry Potter movies. I have like the whole thing in Blu-ray, and it's great to
yeah.
watch that because you can see everything unfold and it makes sense. And I know there's a lot of parts that are left out for all those book fans out there, but I know what you mean. For me, it's really, really hard to stay focused on something unless it like really grips me.
Yeah.
But again, that's why I've been trying to do a lot more Audible, because this is kind of weird, I guess. When I was a kid, my mom used to read like the Harry Potter books to me all the time when I was a kid. And so for me, it's like someone reading to me, I retain it more in a weird way than
That's interesting.
because I can take notes while it's still flowing.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I do podcasts. Maybe I should try some books like that. I've never honestly tried it to see if I like it or not. But yeah, I like physical books because I learned through some of my I had a life coach for a little while, just found out what my strengths and weaknesses were and kind of how to double down on strengths and stuff like that. Anyway, found out that I've always known it about myself, but I like to check boxes. I like a to-do list because I like to see it done. I like to strike through it. So that's one reason why I like physical books, because like watching my bookmark work through the book, it's weird, but for me,
I know what you mean.
It kind of it's something that I can
Achievement
look
unlocked.
at. I see what I'm achieving exactly. So I think
you can gauge your progress.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why I'm a physical book kind of person. I like to see how far do I have left, not it just being a digital page or something
Begin
audible,
with the end in mind. Yeah.
Right. Whoa, I like that.
It's a leadership thing.
Yeah.
It's from one of the books I probably have in this list. I said I was a minor in leadership, but it was all servant leadership. So it's all about, leading by serving. So for me, I try to say the begin with the end in mind thing a lot, but Mercedes, my wife, always bring me back down to earth to be like, yeah, but enjoy today. Because you always think about 20 years from now instead of what you're going to cook for me for dinner. So figure that out. And then you can think about 20 years from now, what you're going to cook me for dinner. So,
yeah. I think it's a pressure, anybody like yourself, like doing doing a podcast, doing a YouTube channel, all that kind of stuff. You're trying to think 10 steps ahead and you kind of sometimes can forget about what you're doing right now. But
yeah,
it's across the bear when you're kind of highly driven and highly motivated, I guess.
Dude, yes. And we've had those conversations a bunch to where being a goal setter that I am, or being someone who's passionate about what I'm doing and the stuff that we talk about at work, like all that, that's why I always say, like, I would love someday, obviously, I love what I'm doing now, but to come work on your neck of the woods of what you're doing, because it's stuff that I'm been passionate about since I was a little kid, but it's a job, if that makes sense. And so it's really cool that you've included me in a lot of just that thought process, because it gets I get really excited about it. Like I was watching something the other day with Mercedes, and I was like, oh, that's the thing I was talking about with Jacob. And then I got super hyped and I went down this rabbit hole, and she's like, you have no idea how many times you've told me about you and Jacob talking about this. I said, well, sorry. But she loves the stud two thing. I was like, yeah, you told me his email is stud squared. And she was dying because she was with me when you called me that night.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm the same way. I think I told you about this, but I've talked about it on here a little bit. Like I was going through, I was going through this rough patch. Like I was having like anxiety, panic attacks, like every day for like a month and a half at the beginning of November until like mid-December. And then I had like the fear of God in my eyes. Before, what I used to do is I would push it down, and then explode on my wife when it's not her fault. But then now she speaks exploding Brian. So she knows how to like walk me down kind of thing. But then the last time I did that was probably like, and she'll probably say it was yesterday, but it was like 2 years ago or something. And so I've been really trying to be more cognizant of my like telltale signs or red flags that's coming on. But this one, I just got super overwhelmed. I started thinking about the podcast and just stand up, not being able to do stand up, and then just everything kind of coming to me at a head. And then I had like a major anxiety and panic attack all at once. And then I just like shut down, but still was just trying to stay active doing stuff. And then Mercedes goes, look at me really quick. And I was like, I'm fine. And she was like, no, look at me. And then she just saw the fear of God in my eyes and was like, are you having a panic attack right now? And I said, oh yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, all right, come here. Let me rub your head. But then I just started doing the reading stuff, and it just like drastically helped. But yeah, I have that problem to where I'm doing well in life, but I just aspire. My greatest fear, and I've talked about this before, is it used to be like being buried alive or like dying when I was a little kid, and then it became buried alive, and these like kind of superficial things. But now it's not fulfilling my potential is my greatest fear.
Yeah. Similar complacency drives me nuts. Just the idea of feeling like somebody might think that I've kind of mailed it in drives me nuts. So, yeah.
Yeah. My greatest fear all the time too with work is that I could be crushing it, and then when somebody calls who's higher up or something, I was like, am I getting fired right now? When there may or may not be a legitimate reason, but I don't know. I just have this fear of failure. So tough.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's a big one for me too. So I understand how that goes.
Yeah, man, the struggle is real, but yeah, man. Well, I'll keep you posted on the book stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Because I need to get into more stuff like that, and I've got a short supply of books, but I'm running out soon. So yeah, I'll need some more stuff, and I need to do more of kind of that style of books. So I do a lot of biographies and things like that. But if I can get more into that, I'll lean on you to give me some recommendations.
Yeah, I definitely, and I've said it, beat this drum super hard. I definitely say try the Unfuck Yourself book on Audible, just because I think it's Gary Smith Bishop is the author's name.
Yeah.
I gotta look it up. But because of his accent, because it's a self-help book, but he starts out saying like, if you're looking for affirmations or me to tell you to release your inner tiger, this is like the wrong book for you. And he's really funny. He's kind of a smart ass, but he's like a psychiatrist, does a ton of research in the book. And I'm huge on like ancient Greek mythology and ancient Roman stuff and just like all the philosophers of those times. And he uses a lot of quotes from like Aristotle and Socrates and like all these people, not that they're mythological people, but they're like back in that time. And so it's very, very cool to me, and I'm all about it. I'm going to look up his name. But dude, if you have
Audible, making a note now, that's what I'm going to do. That's going to be the first Audible book I read. I'm making a note on it.
It's really good. Yeah. It's Gary John Bishop. Like I want to read it again. Like since, if we ever travel again, we travel a lot for work. This is going to be my new thing in the car. But the only thing that sucks about that is I'm not going to be able to like take notes or something like that.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, I do a lot of podcasts in a car, but
Me too.
I'm gonna do this one though. I made a note. That's gonna be my goal. I'm gonna do my first Audible book. I'm gonna do it with that one off your recommendation and let you know how it goes.
Yeah, I've even offered other people. I'm like, if you don't like it, send me the receipt and I will pay for it. It is that good. Like
All
it
right.
is. I think it's like 14.37. But if you sign up with Audible, I think you get one free Audible credit.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
and there is a monthly charge eventually, but I think you get 1 month for free and one credit to just try it out.
Yeah.
So you really have nothing to lose there. And it's only because it tells you how long it is too. So this might be good for your bookmark thing. Because it'll tell you the duration of the book. Because
Yeah.
sometimes when I'm like, hey, I want to read this book over this weekend, or like listen to this book, obviously. In this case, I'm like, oh man, one of the books I'm looking at, the You Can't Hurt Me from David Goggins, is almost a 14-hour book. I'm like, if I get
Yeah.
really gripped into this, I got shit to do. I can't just sit here and listen to this book. But that book is like 3 hours and 45 minutes or something. And so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to break this up into 2 listens. I did it in like 1.5 because I was
Mhm.
trying to listen to it going to sleep, but it was like so gripping. I listened to like the first hour and a half, 2 hours in one sitting.
Yeah. I'm gonna check it out. That's on my short list, and I will let you know.
Well, perfect. Well, dude, I appreciate you jumping on here. I know we've talked about it, and thank you so much for your constant support of this as it, grows from hopefully more than 70 subscribers to something that I can be really proud of in the future. But I know that you're 3 hours ahead and it's almost 6:30 dinner time for you. So
Yeah.
I will let you go, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure talking to you. It's always a pleasure working with you as well. But thank you for sharing the information about the card stuff. It's super interesting and very relevant right now. And then I know I can always come and talk to you about just shit that's going on between my ears, because you're someone I can definitely relate with, and just being like a very big goal setting person, someone who's super driven and doesn't ever want to say I could have done more.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, this is a lot of fun, man. I think you're doing a great job, and I watch and listen as much as I can. So yeah, I'm happy to jump on, and I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully I can come back again and tell
Oh,
you how
of
that book
course,
was.
man. It's a revolving door. You can come on whenever you want.
Cool. I'll take advantage of it.
Well, awesome. Thank you again so much. I really appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your night and enjoy your dinner. I don't know if we cut off. Did you hear me?
I got you now.
Oh, your face looked so distressed. I figured something happened. I was just saying thanks again. I really appreciate it. Enjoy your dinner, and I'm sure, talk to you tomorrow or something.
Sounds good, man. See you.
All right. Have a good one.